Hello guys, it's your boy Jeff Juju here. So in this video I'll talk about Deathblade specifically, how I play her and how her build is. I already made a video previously about Deathblade specifically, but on that video it's kind of outdated because 5 engravings is the real thing these days, and also we already have relic gear set, so I think it's just better for me to make a new video and explain everything in this video specifically. And also it's kind of long video, so I'll try my best to make this video as short as possible. Well, yeah, with that said, let's just jump onto the video. So Deathblade in a nutshell, she is an assassin class that is available in the game right now. She is mobile, at least for me. I feel like she is mobile, even though she builds specialization almost 99%. She has a decent amount of stagger. I mean, she can contribute stagger for the team, so she's not the worst in terms of stagger, and she benefits a lot from back attack. So if you're playing Deathblade, I highly recommend you do back attacks because it will give you a lot of damage if you do back attacks. I mean, that's pretty much about her. Nothing much to say about her. And because of that, I consider her as beginner friendly because she is very easy to play and the execution is not that hard. And she is fun to play too. All of her skills are super flashy. So yeah, that's that. So let's talk about her identity real quick because it's kind of unique and I love this identity pretty much. So her identity is called Death Orb, and the way you generate this Death Orb is by hitting the boss. Simple as that. So you can actually feel the meters using your auto attacks, but using your spell will generate much faster. So you always want to generate using your spells. So as you can see right here, to activate the Death Orb, you just need to press Z, and depending on how many Death Orbs that you have, it will give you like some benefits. I mean, there are a lot of numbers right there. It might be confusing for you, but I'll just explain it as fast as possible. So if you have, let's just say attack speed right now, okay? If you have only one Death Orbs available, when you press the Z button, you only get like 10% attack speed. If you have 2 Death Orbs, it will give you 15% attack speed. And if you have like 3 Death Orbs, it will give you like 20% attack speed. So it's just simple as that. Pretty much almost in every case, you always want to spend your Death Orb when it reaches full 3 orbs because it will give you the most benefit. And keep in mind, this identity also gives you skill cooldowns like 50%. It will give you more depending on how many specialization that you have. I will talk about that later on. Let me just show you some example. If you spend all of your skills right like this, and you press the Z button, you notice that all of my skills are almost off cooldown, and you can use it again. So basically what I'm trying to say is you're the Tinker of Dota 2. So whenever you spend all of your spells, when you press your Z button, it will reset its cooldown, and then you can spam it again. And then do that loop over and over again. You have like 24/7 unlimited skills to spam. That's how Deathblade pretty much plays like. So like I said before, you can just activate the Death Orb and use it as a buff. But there's another way to utilize this Death Orb meter. So what you can do is actually when you press your Z button, you will enter this Death Trance mode, right? So actually you can press the Z button again, and if you do that like this, you'll spend all of your Death Orb and deliver it as a damage skill. So that is what we call as Surge skill, and that is one of our hardest hitting skill as a Deathblade. So yeah, like I said, you can utilize it in 2 ways. 1, you can use it as a buff, or 2, you can use it as a damage skill. So technically speaking, you have 9 damage skill in your kit. So right now we're gonna talk about the class engraving itself, which is remaining energy. This is one of the class engraving. The other class engraving is called Surge or Burst. I'm not gonna talk about that class engraving because I don't play that class engraving and I don't want to spread false information to you guys, so I'll just keep it remaining energy on this video. So probably new Deathblade players will confuse of what does remaining energy do. So if you remember what I said just now, there are two ways you can utilize your death orb. So number one, you can use it as a buff to boost your normal skills, or you can use it as a damage tool, which is your surge skill. But the problem is you cannot be both at the same time. So what do I mean by that? If you dump your meter, your death thrones buff will go poof. So the choices are either you do a huge damage in your surge and do less damage in your normal skill, or you do more damage in your normal skill but you don't surge. So you have to choose either one of that. You cannot be both at the same time. You cannot hit hard in your surge and hit hard in your normal skill. You cannot do that. But if you use remaining energy, you will get that Death Throne's buff even after you dump the meter. So I'll give you a comparison right here. Right now, I don't have any remaining energy. When I press Z, I'll enter this Death Thrones mode, right? And after I press the Z button again, this Death Thrones mode will poof. So you won't have that buff. Like I said, you need to determine whether you want to hit hard in your surge or hit hard on all of your normal skill. You have to choose either one. But if you use remaining energy, let me fill the orb again. You'll enter the Death Trance again, but after you dump the meter, you'll get another buff called remaining energy, and this remaining energy is almost the same as if you're inside that Death Trance mode. So this is a good engraving for you to have. This means you can hit hard in your surge skill and also hit hard in your normal skill. That is what remaining energy engraving does. So right now, probably we're gonna talk about stats. For stats, you always want to max out your specialization with subset crit, like both class engraving, remaining energy, and also surge utilizes specialization by a lot. So I will explain why. Subset crit, very simple, it's just straight damage, nothing else to say about that. Specialization, it will increase your surge skill damage by a lot. It will increase your Death Orb generation by a lot too. It will increase your skill cooldown reduction, so it's not flat 50%, but it will increase depending on how many specialization that you pump into it. So it's always nice to have more specialization, especially for remaining energy. And the next thing is it will increase your awakening skill damage, which is always nice. So yeah, it's good to have. So for relic gear set, you always want to go the earth entropy route because it gives you the most benefit among all relic gear set. You are a back attacking class. All of your skills have back attack modifiers. Even your surge skill has a back attack modifier. So you benefit a lot from earth entropy. That is why you always want to go this relic gear set almost 99% of the time. And this relic gear set is super strong. Like no joke, it is super strong. Because it gives you a free keen blunt, a free precise dagger, and also grudge without any drawbacks whatsoever. That is why this relic gear set is strong. So if you want to ask me other niche relic gear set that you can go for, probably you can go for either Nightmare or Salvation. Even though I always recommend the earth entropy because it gives you the most amount of damage. But you can experiment with those two if you want to. So right now we're going to talk about engraving specifically. I have 3 options that you can choose, and either one of these are completely viable. So the first build is my very own build, the build that I currently running. So I'm running Grudge, Supercharge, Ambushmaster, Remaining Energy, and Adrenaline. So I'll try to explain one by one. Grudge, you can change this into Curse Doll 2, doesn't really matter. Both are the same, it's just 4 straight damage, nothing too fancy about them. Second is the supercharge. So supercharge, you really need supercharge in a remaining energy build, because the faster your skill rotation and the faster you cast your spells, the more damage you will pump onto the target. And 3 of your damage skills are charge skills: Blitz Rush, Soul Absorber, and Voice Strike. And supercharge also increase that skill's damage, so it's always nice to have. Next one is Ambush Master. Ambush Master is really straightforward. You're a back attacking class, so you benefit a lot from Ambush Master. Increases your damage output. Remaining energy is your class Engraving. Adrenaline. So for Adrenaline, you really want the crit rate from it. Yes, you get like a decent amount of attack power, but you most likely want the crit rate. But attack power is just like a convenient bonus, something like that. And Deathblade can maintain adrenaline stacks like pretty well because she has unlimited skill, like I said before. That's why adrenaline fits Deathblade pretty well. Almost like if you can put adrenaline inside a Deathblade, you will try to have it just to pump that extra crit rate. So the thought process behind this build is you have that built-in Keen Blood inside your relic gear set, right? So you utilize that at the maximum potential. That is the thought process behind this build. So this build, on paper, you have a very consistent damage across the board. And also this is the least punishing build because the other 2 build will include Curse Doll, which is, if you don't play it carefully, you will be punished so hard. So yeah, this is the least punishing build. But the downside about this build is your damage ceiling is not that high because you're using Adrenaline, not Curse Doll, right? Curse Doll will push that damage ceiling even higher compared to Adrenaline. Adrenaline is for crit consistency sake. So you trade damage ceiling with crit consistency. That is what Adrenaline gives you. The second build will include Curse Doll. You will remove the Adrenaline with Curse Doll. So you will run Grudge, Supercharge, Curse Doll, Ambush Master, Remaining Energy. This build has the most amount of damage ceiling among all of the build because you have level 3 Curse Doll, which gives you 16% attack power, and also Remaining Energy at max orb will give you 36% attack power. So 52 attack power increase, which is a lot. But you will be synergy dependent if you're using this build because you don't have that much crit. I think if you feel like 40% is okay for you, then yeah, it is completely fine. But you will only hit like 45% crit chance with this build. And if you don't land that lucky crit on your Surge and Blitz Rush, you could have lower damage than the Adrenaline because your relic gear set excel if you utilize the crit chance. And also this build is punishing too because you're using Grudge and Curse Doll. So if you're not playing carefully, chances are you might getting killed over and over again because yeah, this build is you have to play this carefully. That's what it is. So this is the third build that I recommend the most. So this build is not 5x3, but yeah, I'll explain to you guys. You will run level 3 Grudge, Supercharged Curse Doll, and Ambush Master with level 2 Adrenaline and level 1 Remaining Energy. So the thought process behind this build is it's the mix between Curse Doll and Adrenaline. Like I said before, the more crit you have, you will utilize your relic set even more. So you need some of that crit chance. That's why you put level 2 Adrenaline in here. So about the level 1 Remaining Energy and also level 3 Curse Doll, the math behind it is if you have 3 full Death Orbs, you'll get 25% attack power, and your Curse Doll will increase your attack power by 16%. So basically you have 41 attack power increase, and also your Adrenaline increase your attack power by a bit. Let's just assume that you don't count the attack power from Adrenaline itself. So it's already a lot. 41% is much more than level 3 remaining energy itself. So level 3 remaining energy only gives you like 36% attack power. So this build, this is the like I said, the mixture between Curse Doll and Adrenaline. So you have that crit consistency a bit, and also you have that damage ceiling. And by far, this is the highest DPS build that I've ever tested. You don't really need crit synergy in your party because you already have that 10% crit from the Adrenaline. So you're basically self-sufficient with this build. If you have that crit synergy in your party, that means is you will perform much better. But if you don't have that luxury, you'll still perform fine with this build. The downside about this build is if you cannot land that lucky crit, yeah, you'll kind of suffer in terms of damage. And also, it's a little bit punishing because you play Grudge and Curse Doll. So yeah, if you not careful while playing your Deathblade, you can be dead with this build. So you have to play it carefully. So right now we're gonna talk about skills. This is gonna be a bit long, I guess. I hope I'll try to explain as fast as possible. So Spinnaker, this is your party synergy skill. You will need Rage skill rune just because this is the starter of your combo. So if the Rage procs is always nice. This is your party synergy, and these are the tripods that I go for. Your party synergy is damage increase for 3% for all players. But if you're a frontal and back attack class, you will get an additional 9%. So basically you have 12% increased damage if you're a frontal or back attack class. That is why Striker or War Dancer or Destroyer and Gunlance are always happy to see a Deathblade because it will pump their damage. Next one is Dark Axle. So Dark Axle is your mobility and repositioning tool. I just use quick pace. You can use swift fingers, nothing wrong with that. I just use quick pace just to have that slight move speed bonus after I cast a spell. This is just what it is. And one thing to keep in mind is you want to have the last tripod on high axle instead of the upper axle, because high axle enables you to run through bosses. Yeah, like that. So you can run through bosses easily. Compared to upper axle, won't give you that kind of benefit. So don't use this. It's kind of trash. Soul Absorber, this is one of your damage skill. This is one of your Death Orb generator skill. So you always want to put Wealth Rune in it. It's really important to put this one. And one thing to note is you want to have half instead of the power step, because half doesn't change the skill into like normal mode, but power step change the skill into normal mode, which you don't want, because remember, you always benefit from supercharge. So don't change your skill into normal mode. That's what it is. Always go for the health. Next skill is Earth Cleaver. So Earth Cleaver, this is your counter skill. And this is your stagger skill too. Skill rune, you want Overwhelm just to pump more stagger onto the boss. Yeah. So one thing you have to keep in mind about this skill is at least you want to level it to level 4 to have this push tripod, because let's say you don't have that tripods, okay? If you cast the Arc Cleaver, is not that fast like that. It's not very reliable as a counter, because you want the counter to be as fast as possible, right? So this push tripod will give you that that thing you want to. So that push animation right there is already considered as a counter. So if the boss glows blue, you can just cast your Earth Cleaver, and if you ram the boss with this push tripod, yeah, you're pretty much already countering the boss. That's pretty much it. So next skill on the list is Moonlight Sonic. This is one of your damage skill. I just use Galewind Rune just to speed up its spell casting, because this skill requires a lot of time to execute it till the end. This is the tripod that I go for. And keep in mind, this is a holding skill, so it doesn't benefit you from having supercharge. Yeah, keep that in mind. So next skill is Maelstrom. This is your party synergy skill because this skill will give you and your party member move speed and attack speed buff for 6 seconds, which is the level 7 tripod. The level 4 tripod is orb control, and I will explain to you guys in a bit. You don't need to level this skill up to level 10 because it's not necessary. It doesn't give you anything. Yeah, for skill rune, you just need focus just to lower its mana consumption. Nothing much to say about that. So this skill, by default, Maelstrom is pretty shit. It doesn't do anything. But the beauty of this skill is it increases your death orb generation whenever you land a hit onto your target. So, for example, let's say I'm trying to land Soul Absorber onto the boss. One Soul Absorber only feels like almost 1 death orbs. It doesn't really feels that much, so it's not really good if you just cast Soul Absorber alone. Let me go to death orb and dump the meter so you guys have a good comparison. So now I'm gonna use Maelstrom and Soul Absorber, and you see right here, one Soul Absorber generates more than 1 death orb right here. So you want to cast your Maelstrom before you use any of your spell because it will increase your death orb generation. The faster you generate death orb means your rotation gonna be faster. So yeah, you want to do that. So the next skill is Blitz Rush. Blitz Rush is one of your hardest hitting skill. This is the tripods that I go for. One thing you have to note is the second tripod. You want to have this in charge enhancement. Don't put it on all around because it's gonna change you to normal mode, and you don't want it because you want it to benefit from supercharge. That's what it is. So the last skill is Voice Track. For Voice Track, this is one of your death orb generation skill too. This is the tripods that I go for. And you want to put a wealth rune in it, so you just generate more death orbs. And also Blitz Rush, don't forget to put Galewind in it, so you just speed up the casting of this skill. So for the Awakening skill, you always want to go Flash Blink almost 99% of the time compared to Blade Assault because it's almost the same as Dark Axle. It allows you to run through bosses and you don't have to do anything to do the damage. The skill itself will do its damage. You don't have to do anything. And utility wise, it's just much better. It gives you weak point. It gives a good amount of stagger. So in general, it's just much better value compared to the Blade Assault. Blade Assault has higher stagger but no weak point, and it also locks you in place like this. Even though it looks cool, probably you might tempted to use it on raids, but it's just generally it's just better to use the Flash Bling. It's just easier in terms of execution. That's what it is about the Awakening skill. So for skill rotation, remaining energy Deathblade is super easy because you just do the same thing over and over again. I mean, you can do a little bit variation depending on the situation, but like I said, you're basically the tinker from the two. You just do the same shit over and over again. Generally, what you want to do is you open with Spin Cutter to apply the debuff, and then continue with Maelstrom to increase your death orb generation. And then you want to do is Soul Absorber first into Void Strike. So you want to do Soul Absorber into Void Strike. There's an idea behind that. So Soul Absorber is much easier to aim with Soul Absorber. That's number one. As you can see right there, I can do like a 180 turn. Compared to Void Strike, I cannot really do an 180 turn with Void Strike. So you don't want to do that with Void Strike. And second of all, Soul Absorber push you forward. So you want to do that, like it's a semi-mobility skill, and you want to like cast your Void Strike as close as possible, because the closer you are, the more damage you're gonna do with Void Strike. You can still do Void Strike from far still, but you will only hit like 1 instance of attack compared to like previously you do like 3 or 4 instances of attack. And as a DPS class, you want to squeeze as much damage as possible, right? So you don't want to lose your damage. So that is just much better for you to cast Soul Absorber first into Void Strike, and then Blitz Rush afterwards. Make sure you land your hits with Blitz Rush and Moonlight Sonic afterwards. So that is the skill rotation overall. You will always want to save Earth Cleaver and Dark Axle because Earth Cleaver is your counter and Dark Axle is your repositioning tool, so you don't want to like lose 2 of your utility skills, sort of speaking. Moonlight Sonic is your least priority skill in your skill hierarchy because it deals quite amount of damage, yes, true, but these 3 are your most damaging skills, so always prioritize these 3 skills. Make sure you land on these 3 skills. And for the skill rotation, should be look like this. So Spin Cutter into Maelstrom, into Soul Absorber, into Void Strike, Blitz Rush, into Maelstrom. So in a full speed, you pop your identity, do the same thing. After you finish your skill, pop your identity again. You can Spin Cutter again. And do the same thing over and over again. So that is pretty much how the skill rotation works. So Remaining Energy Deathblade, she is very fun class to play. She is very high APM, very spammy. So if you like that, probably this is the build for you. I really like playing her because if you play a Remaining Energy Deathblade, it feels like you are playing a piano. So yeah, that is what I feel when I play a Remaining Energy Deathblade. And also, I just love her concept because you just do your skill rotation and pop your identity and everything on your skill set is off cooldown and you just do it all over again. Same concept as Tinker, and I love play Tinker on Dota 2. Yeah, because he's kind of spammy too. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Remaining Energy Deathblade overall is fun to play. The only downside about this build is probably you need like very high specialization. You really need high specialization because if you have like low specialization, for example, like 800 or 1000, around that number, you will suffer in terms of Death Orb generation. That is why people in tier 1 and tier 2s usually do Search Blade and then switch to Remaining Energy when they reaches tier 3, because Search has like easier in terms of execution. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's pretty much about Remaining Energy Deathblade. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video and you guys get a good insight from this video. If you do so, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe for more Lost Ark content in the future. I also stream on Twitch, so you can just hop in there and see more gameplay content like Lost Ark content live from my channel. And with that said, thank you guys for watching and I see you guys on the next video. Peace.